expanded field would be some sort of way that I could use my creativity, I guess, in a more proactive or tangible way to help people. And then I guess it seemed like people around me, my elders, and people that I really respected kept saying, no, your sort of journey, your path, your destiny is to do art, so do the best you can with that.
And talking about tangible things and many, many musical instruments that you talk about evolution also, you had experience with many musical instruments. Yet I read that discovering the bass was like waking up one day and realizing you are in love with a coworker. Coming back to the music, you know, political science, I see that you have so many talents, but this especially, again, coming back to music and your passion and love towards the instruments as well. It was so interesting to me. You are in love with a coworker. You are the youngest professor at Berkeley. And in addition, you have these experiences with the musical instruments. How do you do that? What do you mean here?
Well, what I mean there is growing up, being exposed to a lot of music allowed me to see more opportunities, you know, if that makes sense. So when I was a kid, yes, I played violin, but I was in programs with many other instrumentalists. I got to see live music. I got to hear live music. I got to meet and work with other adults that were teaching many different instruments, many different styles of music. So even though the bass and these other instruments that I dabbled in had never been my own instrument, I felt familiar with them. That when I touched the bass for the first time, yes, I had never played it, but I'd been seeing it my whole life and hearing it my whole life. And it was like, it seemed like something I could do. It seemed like a possibility because I was exposed to all these different forms of music and instruments my whole life. So when I picked it up and touched it, it was like this thing I'd always been seeing. And then all of a sudden, I realized, like, oh, this is going to be my vehicle. This is going to be my medium of expression. I finally have found my partner, you know, my partner in this quest of musical expression. So that's what I mean by that. And the integral thing of note in that story is just being exposed as a young person to music, to live instruments, to the understanding of music theory and harmony, hearing live performances, not just what's on the radio. You know, for whatever reason, in my hometown, there were many programs for youth, many musical programs and outreach programs. So as a young child, I got exposed to opera and ballet, visual arts, performance art, many different styles of live music. And I really feel like that was, along with my mother, of course, and all my teachers, just being exposed and realizing that there's so much out there is integral, I think, to any kid's development, not just in the arts, but just to know there are many options out there and growing up with an appreciation for art in general.
You're singing, emoting, and playing the bass, and you're also the band leader. You do all of them all together. And you did it in the White House, too. Not once, more than once. What kind of feeling was that? What kind of an experience was that for you?
Well, just in general, the experience of singing and playing, you know, it's a full sensory experience. I mean, I feel very, I don't know, I feel like every ounce of my consciousness is focused to try to be as open and concise as possible when I'm singing or playing. And then, you know, band leading can mean a lot of different things. For me, it mostly means, other than choosing musicians and speaking about how I want the music to come together, it's sort of you are the example and you are speaking to the intention that you want everybody in the band to have as you go on the stage and perform. So, of course, there's a lot of freedom. You have to know how to guide and allow everybody to feel like they have enough space to explore and create and experiment. But then you're also being very clear about, you know, what the mission of each piece is. What is this piece trying to convey? So what does our attitude need to be, and how can we better serve the expression of this piece? And at the White House specifically, it was a little nerve-wracking, not just because the president was there, but Paul Simon was there, Herbie Hancock was there, Stevie Wonder was there. And it was a song that I wasn't really familiar with playing, though it was a classic, overjoyed, classic Stevie Wonder song.
And Stevie Wonder was clapping.
That's good, because I was a little nervous. But again, in those situations, you know, remembering what music is for, you know, it's not there so that I can get applauded and feel like, yes, I did a good job. The idea is if someone's taking the time out of their busy life, particularly someone like the president and vice president of the United States, the idea is they have stopped everything else they're doing to sit down and receive what you're offering. So in that moment, it's helpful, and I think it was helpful to remember that. It's not about me being nervous or trying to make a big impression. You want to offer something of meaning and of use to this person who has stopped everything they're doing and giving you their full attention. So in that particular moment, I was thinking, wow, I I will try my best to deliver something that's beautiful and hopefully uplifting and will be something of use, maybe to relax or just to feel a moment of cleansing, where you're not engaged in your work. You can be there and just enjoy art.
So
That
that
might
is what you're trying to describe to all your audience, because that's what I was going to ask. You explained it very nicely. But overall, what is it that you're trying to express to your audience in your incredible music? I feel like it's like your music is still part of your character when you express it to us. And that's amazing. How did you figure out how to succeed with that? And what makes this happen, the whole experience that you just described right now?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm speaking about what I wish for. A lot of times I don't succeed at all. But the idea is striving. I mean, you strive for different things at different times. One song may just be a party song. You just want people to feel good and get up and move and physically have like a visceral reaction to the music where you just don't want to think at all. You don't even want to feel. You just want to physically release. So that is one way. Sometimes there's a specific storyline. So I'm sort of telling a story and I want someone to come with me along the arc of this story that hopefully will have its own metaphorical meaning or literal meaning. Sometimes a song is about a pure expression of emotion, whether it's mourning, M-O-U-R, or forgiveness or openness or honesty. I mean, sometimes it's just a feeling that you're trying to capture symbolically in a song. So when you deliver that song, you're sort of like an actor. You're trying to get into that literal emotional space so that you can portray it truthfully to the viewer. And hopefully when the viewer of this piece watches you have this real emotional reaction, they can suspend their disbelief and actually go there with you emotionally too. It's sort of like presenting a play. You have the objective of what the play is supposed to portray. And all you can hope for is that that night you do a performance that does justice to the symbolism of the play and the audience experiences something, a story. They go somewhere emotionally, psychologically, that's away from their, everyday reality.
So you bring us along.
Try to. I mean, that's the artistic objective. We're imperfect. We make mistakes, but that's sort of the big goal that most performers all performers on some level are striving to touch, when they get in front of an audience or when they're preparing how they're going to present something.
Beautiful. And last question, Esperanza. You are so young and your work is already important to us, very important to us.
Thank you.
We live it. And as you said, you bring us all along with you. Thanks. So where will this road lead you? What are your plans? What's next?
Oh, good question. Well, I don't know ultimately where it's going to lead me, but the next project I'm working on specifically is called Radio Music Society. And the idea is to take these core fundamental elements of jazz music that I love, that I live and love, and find a way to incorporate them into these songs that are a little more, song forms and melodies that are a little more familiar to the average listener. So the idea is that hopefully if these songs can end up on mainstream radio, that within them there's the beautiful integrity of jazz as an art form too. Because I think it's still relevant, and I really think that if people just had more access to it, they would find a lot of fulfillment in jazz music. There are a lot of elements that are so universal with the improvisation, spontaneity, using this language. You use the language of jazz music much like a poet uses it. You take this vocabulary and you piece it together in new ways that rhyme to say new things with your own voice and experience. And I think that those elements will be really meaningful to people right now. It's just most ears are used to hearing a certain kind of music, a certain sound. So it's trying to format these elements of the music through songs and sounds that are more familiar to listeners at large and hopefully just expose a wider audience to the fundamental elements of jazz. That's the objective. Again, we'll see what happens, but that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, you're doing a fantastic job. And
Thanks.
coming back from your world tour, you just came here and interviewed us. Thank you so much for coming, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.